streak.
Sure, and I mean, a lot of times when you're playing in groups of these LANs, your opening rounds are, not going to be too difficult. But now everybody's a heavy hitter. So for Z-tier players to come out into a set like that after going undefeated at the LAN is just a great start. Now, to talk about these players a little bit, since we've already spoken on My Little Henlo, since they've been sitting and waiting for this match for a little while. Z-tier players. These guys have won New Ink LAN back-to-back 3 times, the three-peat Cactus. So they are going for more, and it's got to say something, too, that Storm won with Glub with Big Dapple, like we were talking about, but decided to play with these guys instead.
It's got to feel like that consistency for Storm with these players. Neptune, Ren, and 49er. I mean, hey, three-peat in your hands, under your belt. The previously, of course, before winning that, it was 2 in a row. That confidence had to have been there, and it surely was. Again, like I mentioned before, they went 13-0 at that qualifying event for New Ink LAN. So the decision was strong, and it's home turf for Storm. I believe they are a resident there over with the New Ink LAN over at that state forum there. So being able to say, hey, I'm going to represent my state with the players that I know, and not just the team that I was able to win with down over there in New York, I mean, it's got to feel really good, not only to win both qualifiers, 2 different qualifiers under your belt, but now be able to represent your own with your close friends.
Yeah, and I mean, that's what this is all about, is sure, maybe in the online tournaments, you can play with the people who you've truly gotten to know over long periods of time, but there's something to be said for that regional spark where it's like, hey, we are all from the same area, we want to fight for our area, represent our area, and we've got Boston v. Florida coming up next, and I couldn't be more excited, but Cactus, this could be another David v. Goliath situation like we saw in the first round with how vaunted of a roster My Little Henlo has.
Yeah, and I mean, there's a couple of different advantages that Z-tier players is going to have, right? For one, they don't have to wait as long for their next match. So they're still playing pretty hot. My Little Henlo, unless they're playing some X-Rank or, having a little bit of a PB fun to stay warmed up, they have had quite a while they had to wait for their matchup. But now also, My Little Henlo had dropped 1 game their first round. So they had a 3-1 victory over Octopodes. So Z-tier players is also looking at them having that mindset of, hey, if Octopodes can take a game off of you, I'm sure we can keep this potential Game 5 streak going and bring it all the way if you do start to get a little bit of a lead on us.
Oh, yeah, and I want to preface this by saying that I don't disagree with what you're saying at all, but on the other hand, if we're looking at My Little Henlo and saying, oh my goodness, they dropped 1 game, whatever could be wrong with them, I think that speaks to just how dang good they are that we were surprised that they lost at all. So I think that this is going to be a good set, but on paper, this is My Little Henlo's. Not only is it their set to lose, I think it could be their tournament to lose.
Yes, and one of the biggest changes that I feel a lot of players don't realize at first when it comes to these online tournaments you usually play to them playing in person is the connectivity. Right, so for those that maybe aren't aware, there's really a lot of, I don't want to say perfection, but a lot more stability when you're playing at these local events in person. You have a lot stronger of a wired connection. Maybe you have a little bit of a interference depending on the tables that are used. If you've ever played at a local, you know sometimes your motion controls have a little bit of a lag to them, or a little bit of a drift, just because of that interference. But besides that, I mean, it is a entirely different ballpark on how you're playing in person than it is online. And sometimes some people may feel that that could be the difference that comes with an event like this. Sure, maybe you showed up and had an incredible record when it came to those in-person events, but now online, the ballpark is a lot wider and a lot more opportunity for things to act just a little differently.
Oh, yeah, and I mean, speaking to that in particular, I'm looking at 49er, their weapon pool. 49er obviously so great on the Carbon and the Brush. Carbon and Brush are one of those weapons that online can be a little janky and can be a little cheesy, so that could be a difference maker for sure. But one thing that I'm super interested to see, and that, hey, if you're a backline aficionado, if you're an anchor in training who wants to be able to see some of this high-level play, you'd best be watching Splatoon Tourney 2 for this set, because Lexi v Ren is an insane Charger matchup.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, I've had the pleasure of going against Ren at Big Dapple. They have made their journey over a couple of times, and I could tell you firsthand that their pencil skills and their Charger skills overall is nothing to just scoff over. It is incredible. And for the side of Milo Henlo with Lexi, I mean, they have so much skill, so much potential, especially when you're able to see them from those online events that they have such a big presence in with the rest of My Little Henlo. I mean, sometimes they're hitting shots that you think don't make any sense half time, but they're just that good. And I'm going to be so excited to see this matchup against them, to see what they're going to be able to bring to the table and how each team's front lines are going to be able to handle it.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's going to be terrifying. And speaking on the front lines, Henlo just being one of the GOATs in frontline play, we've seen time after time how Henlo's Wiper can be a set changer, can be a tournament changer, can just wreck teams single-handedly. So the Z-tier players, they're going to have their hands full.
Hands full indeed. And as we're looking at our map list here for you for this set, it's going to be Zones on Umami as a start. And I'm really interested and intrigued to see the positioning that teams and players on both sides are going to take it, both on entryway and when it comes to being on that defense or that offense. I mean, we saw some great examples previously in the last set with Prickly Pears. And they had a lot of strong positioning, like we've seen from Shiny, right? The front lines on that team were able to get Shiny positioned very well on a map like this, positioning on that little dome section right off of the spawn. So when you're able to kind of put that aggression in and have a strong setup, could be treacherous waters, and really interested to see, especially if either of these players on My Little Henlo are Z-tier players, Lexi or Ren, they bring out that E-leader over a pencil. Best believe that defense has got to be really strong from those front and midline players, because it's going to be challenging to break back out if you're a backline on this map.
Oh yeah, I'm excited to see it. And speaking to your point of breaking back out, that's just going to be so crucial here on Zones as opposed to Clams. But we are loading in, folks. Are you ready for winner semifinals round 2 of the LCS? We see Henlo ever present on that Wiper. A brush also from the side of Florida here. 2 brushes on either side.
2 brushes indeed. Henlo bringing out the Wiper. Both backlines now as well. Lexi and Ren pulling out the pencil. Love to see it. The only real difference I'm seeing here, Sofa King, is a Wiper versus an S-Blast.
Yeah, that's interesting. S-Blast on Zones is curious, especially the Booyah one, as we see Flopstop is trying to make a play happen up front. Both brushes are down. Neptune's Crab trying to get some chipping up front, allow their teammates to get on in. And early on, Neptune, this one, or early on, Cactus, this one's pretty even.
That it is, and you know, I can't help but feel that maybe Storm's use of this is to really camp those ledges around, especially to be a nuisance against the backline. Henlo, though, getting a clean double play pick there, looking to continue this forward from this low right angle to try to poke out Ren. Fortune won't be too successful. They are going to reset, and you do have the players of My Little Henlo in an advantage state, using their specials very slowly here to try to build up a longer lead.
Here comes Neptune and Ren along from the side, but Flopstop with the brush is going around behind, is just trying to make some magic happen as one member of Boston will go down, 2 will go down, and now Flopstopper getting this crazy pick, double there to get a long wipe. Lockout for Florida is fully online.
Oh, that it is. It's going to be pretty dangerous here. One special to their name. They do have a Zipcaster, and that they are going to use, most likely to draw attention away and try to get out Ren. Can they get that pick in time? Yes, they will. There's going to be no cooler and no long range there. A lot more pressure being applied. The zone will still stay capped for My Little Henlo's favor, and with a delayed wipeout going down against the New England team, that will be game number 1 for the Florida representatives, My Little Henlo.
Wow. Oh my gosh, Cactus. I mean, the first minute was even, like we were saying, but once Florida got online, once My Little Henlo came in, once Henlo got that double, and then everybody ignored the brush for that insane flank, it was just a snowball for My Little Henlo from there, and a dominant performance in game 1.
Absolutely, and I mean, they're putting the facts on the table on why they are seed number 1, right? A dominant first game, great positioning, great plays, just continuously having that excellent teamwork to keep the ball rolling. Now, we do know previously that this is the kind of scenario that Z-tier players used to being in, especially with that previous set, right? I mean, they were originally 1 game down right off the bat, but were able to start tying the scores up. Can't help but feel maybe Z-tier players using this as a warm-up game, using this opportunity to feel out my little Henlo, the type of playstyle they're going with, and how they're able to counteract it. Since again, biggest difference we really saw between these two teams was only one weapon, and that being a Wiper versus an S-Blast.
Yeah, that is very interesting that they were playing very similar comps. And I mean, part of me is thinking maybe they weren't predicting the brush out of Dat Kid, Datman, Flopstoppa, whatever name you want to go by. Maybe they weren't predicting the brush on that map mode, and it ended up being such a huge difference for them.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. The biggest thing that had to have been that game changer there was Dat Kid really going behind, and the players of Z-tier players kind of ignoring it, right? And at first, sure, that is a good decision until you start going players down. And that's when you really got to start paying attention to where all these players are located. Because as we saw, especially from those replays, it was a collapse. A 1 from the behind on the spawn and 3 pushing up from the front to just make things more challenging. And Z-tier players is going to have to keep a closer eye out for Dat Kid on that brush, and also be a little weary about those plays from Henlo on that Wiper. We saw earlier that Henlo had a pretty nice splat streak going on there. It is a dangerous weapon that you don't want to give too much space to.
So you're speaking a little bit earlier on Elir. Now, as we move to Clamblitz on Inkblot Artifact, does Leader have a place here? Or we're going to find out if folks are sticking with the same comps. We're loading into Game 2. Can Z-tier players replicate their Game 5 magic from last time? Or will Florida take a 2-0 lead? We see Dat Kid coming out with a sploosh!
Well, you know what? I don't even have any words for that. I'm so curious to see what the plays are going to be, if not to replicate that of a brush and just be a nuisance and constantly go in and get the scores and pretty much take the game up by getting behind. Now we do see Storm switching over to that 52, going down immediately, and then also Ren switching on over to the heavy edit. So a little bit of a change comes, maybe hopefully to try to play a little faster, but there's the play that I was talking about. Dat Kid sneaking on in with the sploosh, scoring once. Right now, player advantage for Z-tier players, and look at that, wasting no time on that map to get a lot of space, a lot of blue onto that map.
Yeah, I did like how Boston was able to kind of capitalize off of that aggressive first play by Florida. As we're seeing the whale come out. We're seeing a lot of clams on the side of Boston here. This Niner's going to be trying to get in, facilitated by a pick from the 52. That is going to be numbers for Z-tier players. With the crab, they're going to be trying to get this ball in as one member is scampering forward, found by the 52 again. But the sploosh cactus is going to, as all that's happening, score again and negate that push fully.
I don't know how I feel about calling it, but that's exactly what I knew was going to happen. While they were all pushing forward, the first thing that went in my mind is, where is Dat Kid? Where is that sploosh? And you can't lose track of that. And already, look on the map on the screen, Dat Kid already behind them on that stack, getting more clams, going on forward. Thankfully, someone put the stop to it, but that could have been another score on the board. And now Z-tier players are going to be playing like there's rats in their head about where this player is going to be, because they just can't get a push in if they're going to constantly be all around the map.
Yeah, in football they call it a spy. You've got to have a spy on that sploosh at all times before you're making your pushes here. But 2 power claims and a lot of other claims does Boston have here. You see the hammer coming out, which is going to snipe Neptune. Henlo again causing a ruckus up front. The sploosh will go down. Numbers remain even for now. Cactus, this is still anybody's game.
Anyone's game indeed. We're about halfway through this match. Henlo trying to stay alive here with the power clam. 2 players down though, and this might be the opening score for Z tier players. That it is 1 player or 1 power clam going on in Storm scoring 2 more. 49 are trying to find a way in to score this power clam. Can they get in time? They will. That will be the lead swap. A strong sense of defense trying to come out from the rep from Gatorland. New England though scoring another power clam. Oh my goodness, Sofa King. This is a incredible lead that they turned around.
A powerful push from Boston as they seem to have figured out the slimy tactics of my little Henlo, taking a commanding 40-point lead. However, the #1 seed is never going to be out of it. 2 minutes left. 1 will go down, though. Henlo is not going to be a presence on the battlefield for this push, as the other player scampering backwards going to use the crab here to try and get a pick. Now, if you're my little Henlo, how do you orchestrate this comeback?
Especially if you're unable to get that kid going on forward and get another cheeky play in, you're looking to take out those front lines, take out that 52 like you do there. Look for another pick, and there's another one as well in the other front line. I am almost predicting the plays here as they happen. We're going to see Henlo trying to go in, but there's a nice defensive crab. The splash doing what a good support does, build that special, stay alive, and stall for time.
Yeah, Neptune on that crab is the MVP of the defense right now, as, oh my gosh, C-tier players are getting numbers back with a little bit over a minute left. You still have to keep your eye on where that sploosh may be. Henlo, in a 1v2 scenario, is going to pop the hammer to get out of it. Isn't going to find a pick quite yet, but their teammates coming in to help. Now it's going to get the Zipcaster to bring numbers back. The clam economy is about even. It's about to be final push time here for my little Henlo.
That it is, and you know, it's 49er cheated death twice there. It's only fair that Henlo finally got it on the 3rd try. A lot of paint from both teams here in mid. It is going to be my little Henlo with more of that space coming on up. We're going to do a hammer take out Neptune's crab. Here comes the Zip taking out 1 player there. Player advantage still for my little Henlo. They're going on and getting another pick. Here's the power clam score, and a couple more to follow suit. They may be building enough to get this lead back. They are almost there. Players trading back and forth. Henlo's holding the sideline. They don't see Lexi from behind, scoring for the lead, and then some. This is treacherous waters. Couple more points left to go, and they are ending it. Wow, comeback indeed. My little Henlo, 2-0.
If it's not going to be the sploosh, it's going to be the pencil, I guess, flanking. But great awareness by Lexi to realize what was happening in that scenario and to be like, okay, this might not be the best position for me, but what the hell? We're just going to go win this game. So Lexi with the hero play there in a game that was, Cactus, much scarier from my little Henlo. They were in danger of dropping that one.
Absolutely. It was really scary to have those players really figure out that kid's play style, right? Find out where they were. Like you said before, having that spy, having that eye on one player that's really going to be a nuisance. And once they figured it out, they were able to have a lot more control. They had an incredible push, getting it all the way down to 22. I mean, they were able to put a lot of pressure. However, slowly through those cracks, you saw my little Henlo finding their ways in, finding those picks that they needed, and ultimately having enough of that distraction and enough of that stall to pull the attention away and allow just a nice, sneaky, cheeky play from the pencil of all players and score enough to allow that lead back.
You know what's interesting is that's almost... I would almost say that that's only possible if you have a player like that kid who's messing up the front lines for the pencil to be able to do that. Because if you're Z-tier players, you're dizzy, like we said, with where is Dat Kid at any given moment. And if you can see Dat Kid on the front lines, or if you just pick Dat Kid, your first thought is, okay, they're not flanking anymore. But the opposite was true. So having a player who's kind of like constantly attempting that cheese route kind of enables other players to do it too in this kind of like weird backwards way. So I really loved my little Henlo's use of positioning there. And hey, they're on the verge of making it to winners finals.
That they are. One more game they're looking to win. They're looking to make it on Tower Control Hagglefish Market. Z-tier players, still an incredible crew. still a lot of potential if they're able to get My Little Henlo tricked up, stopped in their path. And without further ado, game point for the Gatorland reps. Here we go. Z-tier players looking to take at least one game, and start turning things around. And oh my, the picks of weapons just keep getting stranger. We do see a Clash Blaster from Dat Kid.
Yeah, and you know, hey, part of me wants to press F to doubt, but the other part is saying that kid has been the MVP of the set so far. I can't necessarily distrust anything that they're picking, so I'm eager to see that Flash Blaster come out and do some work here. As in the opening, no picks quite yet, but a Crab on the ready on one side is getting outpaced by Neptune's Crab. Trades up front, the Zipcaster is coming into the back lines of Florida, not able to find anything as Niner is zipping around, and the early going, again, Cactus is pretty neutral.
Yeah, absolutely. And right off the bat, too, we are going to see Z-tier players finally start to push this tower forward. But it's going to be My Little Henlo getting a nice push of aggression here, as we are going to see the Splash putting out all the stops. They're still having that Crab ready, by the way. They have yet to use it. They have saved it so far for, I believe, a full minute of this game since they have gotten it. And this is going to be first checkpoint, most likely about to fall down. Although Zuka will take 2 players out, a checkpoint to secure it for them is what is going to be on your screen.
Yeah, really nice work here as Neptune's trying to camp this jump, is going to get the Clash Blaster, which will maintain numbers for Boston. Neptune in a nice 1v1 will get a second one as Neptune is rolling for their team here. One is picked off the front of the tower here, but Juice is going to allow the players to collapse upon that other brush. And oh my gosh, Boston and C-tier players, they're rolling here as they're trying to flip the lead.
Oh, that they are, and this is going to be a checkpoint fallen, and definitely a lot more since they're using their specials to keep this moving on forward. Unfortunately, 49er will go down in that Zipcaster. We do see Dat Kid going down on that Clash. Storm using the Zuka, as that's something that I forgot to mention that Storm switched to, was that vanilla splatter shot, using it as a great job to open up more space. Stamp will come out and get 2 by Henlo, looking for another, and that immediately is going to open up the space for My Little Henlo to take a lot more of this map back.
Nice push there, but Z-tier was not able to break that second check, which is often what you're looking for, as now the Clash up front is going to help get this Splash on the ramp here. Big control for Florida as they're gearing up to take the lead back. The chumps that we've already seen facilitating some frontline action are going to come up. The Splash will go down, or the shot will go down off your screen here. The Clash! Oh my gosh! Oh. It's going to be able to pick Ren up in the corner. You've got the hammer coming out as well. You have to secure this top right. The Cactus, it's looking like it's going to go right the other way.
Oh, that it is. A stagger is what you are seeing happen to Z-tier players. My Little Henlo takes that lead back, and they take a lot of the map control with it. A lot of burst bombs being tossed by both sides. A lot of great movement from these players to just stall the time and get this tower to keep going forward. Here's that hammer from Henlo getting a nice double, and there is 3 players down from Z-tier players. Only the Splash alive. Can Neptune find a way to solo us out for the rest of the players to come back, or does this be a KO scenario?
It looks as though My Little Henlo is about to book their ticket to Winners Finals, unless the Crab play and the special play from Z-tier is able to knock them away from this tower, but the Clash is still presence up front, is going to get picked, and Boston is still in this one, despite needing a push all the way to 10 to get back in.
Yep, and a lot of picks still going down as Z-tier players. A lot of holding forward being done by My Little Henlo. They're making it very, very tricky for Z-tier players to get on in here. Find these positioning, find this route. They have to use specials now to try to take back mid. And if that's the type of scenario you're in, you are in treacherous waters. That means that My Little Henlo has a lot of great control, and they have Z-tier players right where they want them.
Henlo's got that hammer online, as does the Crab for Florida here. We see Storm trying to make something happen with the Juice and the Zuka here, but it's going to get, oh my gosh, pinched by everybody it seems, has to jump out and away from the hammer. Henlo, if you count that jump, just, I think, effectively got a triple. As we enter the final minute, it is all Florida.
Absolutely, the map control, the tower control, you name it, they got it. Only 40 seconds left on the clock for Z-tier players to try to bring this around. Great control of where these players are from My Little Henlo. This stamp is going to look to do a little bit more damage if they can find anyone out. Fortunately not, but My Little Henlo's not looking to push this tower much further. They're just looking to stall.
Oh yeah, we are in the end game here as Niner will go down, giving numbers back to Henlo in the final seconds here. You see the splash coming up in this crash, to get picked. Storm and Neptune are still going to be active on this front line here with one final chance. Azuka doesn't seem like it has any targets here. As Storm isn't able to find anything there, everybody's going to be juiced up for Boston in the final second. Storm riding that tower, but look at these perfectly timed specials. The crab, the collapse from the brush. It is overtime. That tower is likely going to be taken by Henlo any second here, but no, until they do, and that is going to be a 3-0 sweep for Florida. Your number 1 seed is headed to winners finals.
Proving the position that they were put in. Incredible job by my little Henlo, being able to take on the surprising challenger I bet they were not expecting, the Z-tier players in a 3-0 fashion. But although that score may look like Z-tier players were unable to have the success, they put up an incredible fight.
They really did, and I mean, part of me is wondering, I love Octopodes too from round 1. How did they take a game off these guys? My little Henlo, I mean, they are playing at peak performance here from what I've seen. They recently won their Ludi group. They recently, went to DivX playoffs. They recently won Gamers for Giving. But, I mean, they just look like they're on a different level today. It looks so clear that my little Henlo is gunning for that top spot. Could not be more impressed with them. But like we were saying, it ain't over yet for Z-tier players.
Nope, not one bit. Z-tier players is going to be knocked down over to the losers bracket. Still have a chance to bring it back and claim a spot into finals, as we do have a further look here at this bracket. Looking at the rest of these matches, oh my goodness, Prickly Pear 3-0 over Glove Glove. Looks like West Coast proving why they are the best coast, taking down Glove Glove, sending them to the loser's side of the bracket. And on the loser's side, we're seeing some close matches. Fortunately, no boys allowed. 2-0 right now against Octopodes. C-Bubble taking up a 1-game lead against CQ, got kicked out.
Yeah, I'm excited to see some of these matchups, and I don't know that anybody's surprised that in winners finals, we've got our number 1 and our number 2 seed facing off against each other. And now I'm curious to see, as we do see just now C-Bubble completing the 3-1 set victory over Siku got kicked out. That will be it for our H-Town Splashdown reps, who are gonna still, they still won H-Town Splashdown, but will be one of the first eliminated here as C-Bubble confirms at least top 6. I'm curious to see Seattle v. Boston coming up next. I don't know which of the 2 losers round 2 sets we're going to be broadcasting, but both of them look like they're going to be bangers.
Absolutely. If things keep going for no boys allowed, we're going to see another East versus West Coast on that side of the losers bracket. Both sides, we're still seeing a lot of West versus East Coast action still being tied on up. So a little bit of that break from back to for double East Coast action for these teams.
Oh yeah, I love it. And it's interesting now that you're seeing the picture of this tournament take shape, as in winner semis and losers round 1, you're seeing a few more lopsided sets here, more 3-0s, more 3-1s. It looks as though No Boys Allowed may about to be on the verge of a 3-0 here. So Cactus, this one is kind of, you're getting the picture of the haves and the have-nots here. But I still think, man, my little Henlo and Prickly Pear got to be tuned in for that one.
Most definitely. The strongest teams that you are seeing from all 8 of these locals, they have been able to put a lot of pressure, not only in their respective states, but now against these other states' teams, making sure that they're sweeping their way forward, dropping very little games. I'm curious to see the pressure that my little Henlo is going to bring to the table, though, because right now, Prickly Pear is now 6-0 in this LAN Championship Showdown, not dropping a game yet.
No, and I mean, stretching all the way back, I think they're the final remaining undefeated team in the whole tournament. I believe they're 23-0 now, too. So truly the Clash of Titans coming up here. Now, that one won't be on this channel. It will be on SplatoonTourney 1, I believe, which we'll get to eventually. But Cactus, I mean, we are unfortunately on the verge of saying goodbye to everybody. I think we're doing a little bit more yapping. But I believe that it's about to be done for us. So where can the good folks at chat find you between now and your next appearance on the mic?
Between now and my next appearance, wherever it may be on the lovely microphones, you could find me on pretty much all my socials, Blue Sky, YouTube, and Twitch at Glitch Cactus, especially Twitch, where I'm streaming every single day. I believe we are 116, 117 days into streaming, or on my podcast, The Cactus Patch with Dapple Production. But Sofa King, where can the great people in chat find you?
Well, no socials at the moment, folks, but I'm trying to be on the mic as much as possible here at SplatoonTourney. You can catch me throughout the rest of the Ludi playoffs, and as well, if any of you are familiar with SAC coming back, I'm going to be on the mic for that as well with IPL, so stay tuned throughout the season for some really awesome mid-level action as that's getting underway. Well, folks, that may be it for us, but the LAN Championship Showdown is only just beginning. Now, SplatoonTourney 3 and 4 are going to be shutting things down, doing some raids. We are going to do a quick commentary swap to bring you fan favorites, Rissa and Fusion. But here at the LCS, this stream just don't sleep. Head on over to the main SplatoonTourney channel for our dedicated intermission show with your favorites Falco, Keon, and Nito to tide you over till the games resume once more. We've been Sofa King of Cactus. We'll see you next time.